Hello and welcome back to Conan Exiles. Now, as you may have guessed per the thumbnail, today we're going to be asking the question, is there an ending? Now, in this episode, I'm not going to give you the answer to that just yet, because hopefully over the next few episodes we will answer that question for you, and hopefully existing players will maybe get a reminder or learn something new from this, but more so hopefully this will help new players to the game to figure out what the actual end game goal of Conan Exiles is, because there is a couple of ways you can play, and we'll discover those in these next few episodes. And also I'll tell you the things required and where to get them from, and how to also then complete the game if this is even possible. So stick with us. Hope you enjoy the journey. If you do enjoy this, let us know down below. Let us know your comments, let us know your questions, and we'll do our best to answer them. So, how do we learn all of this? Well, to discover this, we've got to start at the very beginning. Okay then, so here we are, as we said, at the very beginning, which is always a very good place to start. So you've created your character, you've loaded in, you won't have these items of clothing on that I'm wearing just now because this is something you'll craft just as you start your little journey. But you will essentially start here at one of these start locations, and if you pull up your map, which for me on PlayStation is the right arrow key on the D-pad, and as you'll see we're here at this spawn location, but there are 5 or 6 possible locations. You can spawn here, a bit further over, or here, or anywhere along here. And what your initial objective to do is to make your way down to the river, or Noob River as veteran players would call it, which is essentially this body of water that goes from here and runs up to the jungle, but your main areas that you kind of want to stick within first is sort of from here down to here. Avoid this little camp at first because it is quite dangerous, even though it's only the second highest tribe in the game that you'll encounter. There are a lot of them, and if you're not prepared you could get killed very, very easily. But as I say, your initial objective is to get yourself from here, and what you want to do is make your way down to here to what are 2 big statues that are called the Sentinels. But as you're progressing down this pathway, I strongly recommend you follow your journey steps, which are up in the top right corner there. That'll walk you through what to do, like taking your first steps, gathering plant fibre, gather stone, gather branches, and it'll get you to craft basic tools, so a pick, and then you can make yourself a hatchet to gather some stone and wood as you go. So then you'd follow it along. You'll notice this cart as you go. You can see the journey's ticking off there. I'm not going to go through them all in this series to do it properly, but as you can see, you can access a chest, find yourself some goodies there. Should have a water skin in it and some food, so you can click on those to eat and drink. Now I've got an extra water skin on my hotbar there because if we go on down this pathway just a little bit, I'll gather some of this as we're going, just so you can see. So you press your interact button to gather resources. This is a lot easier once you've got tools to do this, but as you can see, gather plant fibre, then it'll gather stone, gather branches. You'll notice on this little rock, and there is a similar rock to this on all the different spawn locations, there'll be a water skin here, which is the one I've already picked up here, but you'll also see a little note.
I am beaten, left to rot among the ruins of the past. There are others here, slaves, bandits and cannibals, exiles from lands I've never heard of. Some of them try to scrape a life from the wasteland, scrabbling in the rocks and sand for their own place. I cannot go on. The life that I left behind haunts me. The sun over the glittering spires of Belverus has forever denied me. The smell of my daughter's hair. I will pass the ghost fence, and this cursed land will finally end me. To whoever reads this note, I leave the last of my water and this message. Stranger, you have my pity. You do not know how cursed you truly are.
As I say, I'm not going to do all this absolutely step by step, but that just gives you a quick idea as a new player there of what you do. Just follow those journeys, make your way down to the river, stick to this stone path, and then once you get to New River, we're at the next little bit. So I shall see you when we get there. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay, so here we are down on the river, and one of the reasons why I recommend you come and find these two big statues that are known as the Sentinels, as you can see we're just here on the river, is because when you're starting your little journey, this is a relatively safe area, because you can see there you've got these big guy, turtle looking guys that are shalebacks, I think they're known as. They will only attack you if you attack them. There can be some slightly different coloured ones that are the aggressive ones that will hiss at you and growl and stand up, so you'll know they're aggressive, and they will try and attack you straight away. You can also get, don't mind me, some one skull ones which they hit pretty hard, so if you do get one, try and run away really quick, because if you're not prepared early on, they can be quite nasty, but you don't always get those. But yeah, your main thing is, if you come up to this bonfire here, you'll see this NPC here, and if we talk to him...
Another new one, eh?
Got an emote you can learn.
Veterans tend to smell just a little more like despair. I'm Arcos.
Pleased to meet you,
Once
Arcos.
a sailor, now a wanderer. You didn't think you were the only one, did you?
Well, I didn't know.
You should go up north. There's whole cities of exiles up there.
Really?
In the beginning, there were only a few of us. But now, it seems like fresh-faced fools are showing up every week. Not all of them are as friendly as I am, mind you. Watch your step. There are a lot of desperate people out there. Bracelets. You can't remove them. Saw one fool cut his arm clean off trying to get rid of it. He bled to death right there in the sand.
Ooh, nasty.
Nasty business.
Yeah.
Leave it on. You'll start to hear the voices soon enough, and then you'll start seeing the ghosts. I don't think the voices are for us. Not for us here and now. I think they were talking to somebody else. Back then.
Maybe.
Whatever it was. Whenever it was.
Yeah.
Those pillars keep us confined here. Some call it the curse wall, or the ghost fence, or just the boundary. Doesn't really matter what it's called, does it? I walked all the way around it once. Had to be careful not to cross it, of course. Once in the north, I saw a few people on the other side, wearing bracelets just like ours, with gems of amber. It makes you wonder. I'm no scholar, but I've met a few who passed through. They all have mad theories about what the ruins scattered around here are. The Mirians, Giant Kings, Kari, Velusian Serpent Men. Do those names mean anything to you? Never mind.
Nope.
It's my experience that men who have their minds in the past get eaten by crocodiles in the present.
Oof.
In the beginning, there were only a few of us.
Then he'll
Now,
carry on talking again.
showing up every week.
So that'll kind of give you a bit of an introduction, help you to kind of understand what the game is actually all about. But ultimately, it is a two-part game, let's say. You've got two choices. You can either play it sandbox, meaning you just play it at your own pace, play through the game, progress as you do, you know, leveling yourself up, getting better weapons, armour, etc, etc, and just enjoy the game for what it is and continually play till you've done absolutely everything in the game and found everything and unlocked everything. Or you can, as we're doing in this little series, get to the point where you complete your first dungeon, which we will go and look at very, very shortly, which is down here at the end of New River, which is called the Dregs, which you'll get a thing called the Staff of the Triumvirate from, which is a tool within the game again which you can turn into the Awakened Staff, which will essentially speak to you and kind of guide you through the game, although that journey can be a little confusing where it's actually sending you and what it's actually telling you, but don't worry, we'll hopefully guide you through that in this series, so hope you stick with us. But for the moment, what you can do is, once you've spoken to him, get yourself a little base set up. Now if you're playing on PvE, which we are, you would need to make yourself an actual little hut to put your belongings inside. so that you can keep them safe and your benches and what have you, so that people can't take things off your benches if you're playing an official PvE. PvP you would definitely want to do that, but we play PvE. If you're playing solo or single player as it's known, then you don't really need to worry. So what you could essentially do using your hatchet and your pick is cut down yourself a lot of trees and a lot of stone, and then just build yourself a little platform like this. So as you unlock your building knowledge, you can craft yourself some sandstone fences and some foundations. Just pop a little workspace down like this, and then as you unlock the various stations, so your alchemy, your carpentry, your blacksmith, your furnace that you'll get at level 10, your little place to put your bedroll down, just so that you've got a place to kind of operate from and to store things in. This is all you need if you're playing single player to get you going. You don't really need to worry about doing anything too fancy. You could build a little house if you so wish, but I wouldn't worry about doing anything too major at first. But one other little thing just to cover before we move on to the next step is that while you're down here in Conan Exiles, certainly on the Exiled Lands, there is an event, if you would call it that, or a mechanic in the game known as a sandstorm, which starts from up here at a place called Sepa Maru, which is the city of the relic hunters, and essentially it's a sandstorm, like it says, that blows down here, down to New River, all across New River and a lot of this area, and it stops round about here. Now I won't go into detail now why it stops there or how it stops there, but we will cover that in a future episode, so do stay with us to discover that one. But when this sandstorm comes along, which will be very obvious because it'll be very windy and the sky will be a lot darker, you can either find a little hidey hole, so you could crouch under his little tent up there, and if you've got some healing wraps or if you've made up some aloe potions because you've collected some basic aloe, you could heal through it in there. Or why not, when you put your little base down, build yourself a little sandstorm shelter, which all that is an extra foundation piece, 3 walls, a door frame, a door and a ceiling. And if you watch my stats on the top left there, if we step into here, we get that bar that now appears that says sheltered. So if I come out again, that'll now clear. So if a sandstorm was to arrive, I could step into here, that would stay sheltered, and that would now mean that the sandstorm can pass over us and we won't take any health damage and end up dying from the sandstorm, because it could kill us if we're not careful. So if we were out in the open here, we would end up getting killed potentially by the sandstorm. So just pop yourself a little box down like that for a little sandstorm shelter and you would be perfectly good to go. But we're going to progress time a little bit now and say that we've done this, we've done a few bits, we've got ourselves leveled up a little bit, we've got ourselves some okay weapons and armour, maybe even a friend, got ourselves to run about level 25 to 35, one of those sort of levels ish, which is probably the best time to be looking at doing it. And that is of course to take a look at the Dregs dungeon. So let's go have a look. So if you've reached this part of the game, you're about level 25, maybe 30, 35-ish if you want, which is probably the recommended level for even attempting this next little bit that we're going to have a look at. It's not terribly difficult, but it can be a little bit of a challenge, as it is the first dungeon you will encounter in Conan Exiles. So we do recommend, especially for new players, that you get yourself to at least around about level 25-30 with some maybe medium armour and decent weapons. You don't necessarily need a top level bow or really good arrows, just a basic bow and some flint head arrows, or even just some bone arrows, whatever you pick up you'll need, because you'll need them to go through this dungeon to open various doors as you go through. There's a button that you have to shoot to open the doors. I'm not going to do a guide on it in this particular series, but keep an eye out in the future, you never know, we may do a run through. But you'll progress through the dungeon and you'll get to the end, and then there is a boss at the end that you need to kill, which is a big horrible ugly looking creature, shall we say, which I'll show you in just a moment. and you'll notice when you've killed this particular boss and you've hacked them up, you'll notice a particular thing in your inventory, which we'll also take a look at, and I'll tell you what that is and why that's kind of good to have on you and why you should keep hold of it. So as I say, wait till you're at least level 25 to 30 with some decent gear, and maybe even a follower that you've picked up from Noob River, because we are, if we take a look down here at the end of the river, which is called Skulker's End, which is a big Defari camp. Yes, these guys aren't attacking me at the moment because I am cloaked and in god mode, so they're not aware that I'm here, but these guys will all attack you. I will give you a little pointer though once you've killed all of these. To enter this dungeon you will have to get one or both of these to chase you in here, and as you'll see by the ghosts, they'll give you a little clue that what you'll need to do is get one of these NPCs onto the top of this platform that we're stood on now. You will have to sacrifice one of them, and then this will lift up, and as you see the ghost image walking off down the stairs there, that will take you down the stairs into the Dregs dungeon, which is your very first dungeon. As I said, it'll encounter, but you also get something that can be pretty useful from this dungeon. So what is it? Let's have a look. Right, so again, as you can see, I'm now here at the end of the dungeon, and yes, again, this boss is not attacking me because I am cloaked in a god mode for the purposes of this video, but this big ugly looking monstrosity that you can see behind me is what you'll have to take down. Now if you've got a follower with you that you picked up on Noob River, they will run down into that pool that he's in and try and attack it inside the pool. I don't recommend you go in that pool because it is acid and it will kill you. It does hurt. For some reason followers are immune to it. But you're basically, with this boss fight, if you've got your bow and arrow, if you keep pinging arrows at this guy and your follower goes in to fight them, if you've got one, you can do this without a follower, but if you do that, take down so much of his health, then he'll disappear underneath and then he'll plop up out onto the side, and if you get up close with your weapon or your daggers or what have you, do some damage to it, it'll slide back in, rinse repeat 2-3 times. Once you kill him, that pool will empty. There'll be a book that you can learn some things from at the bottom of the steps. There's also a couple of legendary chests in there as well, that if you've got any legendary keys, which you may not have at this point if you haven't taken on any world bosses yet, but don't worry because you can come back to this dungeon anytime and run it again when you have got some keys. And then if you chop, we'll call it him up as well, he will give you some different bits and pieces, but he'll also give you this particular thing here, the Staff of the Triumvirate. And the Staff of the Triumvirate is an item that we will need to take to another location to turn it into this item, the Awakened Staff of the Triumvirate, which essentially is a speaking skeleton head, which I'll show you shortly. And pretty much it's like a tutorial or a guide, if you will, that will help you through the game and kind of give you an idea of where to go and talk to you about some places you'll need to visit and some items you'll need to get hold of to take to some place to turn into something else to eventually and hopefully remove your bracelet and remove the exile lands, if this is indeed true. But it can be a little bit confusing. There is definitely one little part of this that I will come to shortly where there is one ghost that you will go and speak to, and one of the items that he mentions is actually incorrect. You don't require that item, it's actually something different, but don't worry, I've got you covered. I will tell you what the wrong item is and what the right item is that you actually need, and also show you where you get that from when we come to that part, so stick with us, you're in safe hands, don't worry. But yeah, back to the dregs. You've collected your Staff of the Triumvirate and some other bits and pieces, and you've now left the dungeon, or you're about to leave the dungeon, which is just down these steps here through that grate. And then you can either carry on with the game, you don't have to go to this next location straight away, but if you want to turn the staff into the Awakened Staff and start to listen to it and see what it says and sort of follow the story that way, then I'll take you now to the location that you'll need to go to be able to transform it into the awakened staff. Okay, so we're here at our next location, which is where you would be bringing the staff of the triumvirate to turn into the awakened staff. You will have these rock nose that wander around that you'll have to deal with. Not too tough, but obviously you'll have these guys to deal with. And if we take a look up here, that is where we need to go. So it is a little bit of a climb, and if I show you on the map, we are just here, just to the east side of the unnamed city, and this is called the Tower of the Bats, which if I zoom out, then you can see where we are in relation to the river and our map reference. So then if you climb up here, I'm going to fly up just to make this quicker and easier, but if you work your way up, there are little ledges you can rest on to save up your stamina, but you've got to climb all the way up here. Then once you get here, that humming noise you can hear behind these two bushes, there are tablets you can listen to, which will give you a bit more of the lore, which are the voices you were hearing at the very beginning if you press the tablet on the broken highway or one of the highways where you landed. And then where you're essentially heading is up there, but let's have a listen to what these have got to say.
Slave, in the beginning it was thus. The blackness of an utter void, with the cold winds of cosmic space blowing through it. We have not forgotten our origin, slave, nor the immensity of the void. Nightly, the star dreamers search the heavens for their wisdom, and at midnight, a moonbeam messenger carries the whispered dreaming back to the Warmaker, the Archivist, and the Priest King. Thus is our future read from the heavens and engraved on this earth. Your service here will bring you much honor.
So there you go. Now it says service here, so essentially, a little book you can read there as well. As you know by now, with the bracelet that your character has on their hand, you are essentially a prisoner in the exiled lands. And you will have noticed all around the very outskirts of the map, so it goes all the way around here, all the way across the top and all the way across the left as well, is a huge, what looks like shield or wall, ghost fence, whatever you want to call it, as the NPC Arcos mentions at the beginning that we saw a little earlier. And you cannot cross through that because he's seen somebody try to do it. He's also seen somebody try to remove his bracelet and bled to death in the sand right in front of him. So I don't recommend trying to remove your bracelet just yet. So this is how we need to discover if there is even a way to do it. But coming back to where we are, we want to get this item, the awakened staff. So to do this, as I say, you come to this location, and then if we head up these stairs, you'll notice this happy chappy waiting for you. Now this guy can hurt. He's not terribly tough, but he can hurt, and he can knock you off the edge if you're not careful. But again, if you've got a follower with you, nice and easy. You need to kill this guy because this guy is an albino bat demon. So you'll need to hack him up again because he will give you some albino bat demon blood, which you will need once you've defeated him. If you come up these stairs here, you come to this altar, you can interact with it, and in order to make the awakened staff, you'll need to place your staff in there, and as you can see, looks like it's doing something, but if we look at our crafting queue at the bottom right there, nothing happening. We place in the blood, and as you can see, that now starts crafting, and there it is in the inventory. We can grab it out like that, and then if we come back down out of the way, now this might not say the right thing just yet because I may have already progressed this journey, but if you bring it to somewhere where it will allow you to place him down like that, then you will be able to
Yes, yes! I live again! Oh,
May the earth tremble at my coming, and all of that. Oh, hello. Ah, well, I have you to thank for awakening me, yes? Oh, you've done a very great thing. My former masters were upset with my advice. I was thrown into that sewer in a fit of pique. Apparently, my endless wisdom was only at a premium when they were winning the war.
Charming.
Once the Giant Kings were the favourite of Set, the old serpent. No, they'd never admit it when I dwelt among them. I mean, they had the serpent ring of Set stolen from my people. The serpent people who went extinct thousands of years ago. One of the triumvirate would know more. That's all I know.
Okay.
Once the Giant Kings were the favourite of Set, the old serpent. No, they'd never admit it when I dwelt among them. I mean, they had the serpent ring of Set stolen from my people. The serpent people who went extinct thousands
Now,
of
obviously, he's just carrying on about something else, but
years ago.
you can pick it up again. And what he'll actually mention is he'll talk to you and try and figure out where you are, and he'll spout some bits and pieces out. Oh, let's get a look at where we are. We must be here in the here and now. And he'll mention a place called the Archives and a person or a being known as the Archivist. And where he's referring to is up here in the Unnamed City. Now again, too early game, I wouldn't recommend going in here because there are a lot of skeletons and they are pretty relentless and they can hurt. So again, I'd be very, I mean, you can get in an entrance here, just run past them all if you know exactly where you're going. A lot of veteran players will tell you they'll just race down there and run straight in. Everything will de-aggro, nothing will chase you inside there. But if you're going to follow this safely, again, I'd be very cautious. But yeah, you want to make your way there. This is a place where you learn a thing called cartography, which is the ability to create a map room, which will allow you to attune to an obelisk, which you'll find around the map, which is a big purple structure with like a purple smoke around it, which is corruption essentially, which you don't want to get too much of unless you are playing the role of a top level sorcerer, of course, and you need the corruption. But there's one, just for example, up on top of the Dregs dungeon, just where we were. There is actually one here in the Unnamed City outside the Archives, which I'll show you when we go there in a moment. And there are others dotted around the map as well. And you can attune to those, and then using your map room, once you eventually create one, you can teleport from your map room to that obelisk, to that location, as a way of getting around. But of course, if you've learned sorcery as well, which is another thing you can learn in game, and you reach level 15, you can create transportory stones, which again are another form of teleportation around the map, but again give you a lot of corruption, but that's another subject for another video. So once you've spoken to the staff, as I say, and he's mentioned the Archives and the Archivist, you're going to head to the Unnamed City, and that is where we're going to go right now. Okay then, so we're here just outside the Archives now. Apologies about the lighting, it is very dark here in the Unnamed City. But as you can see just where we are here up on the top right hand side. And if I just pan my camera around again a second, the structure you can see there, that is an obelisk that I was talking about. So you can run up to that, and if you interact with it and then run away again, that will attune your bracelet to it, and it'll allow you, like I say, once you have a map room, to teleport back to this location anytime you want to come into the Unnamed City. But what we want to do is head inside here, all the way down, totally safe once you're inside here. Nothing will chase you in here and try and attack you or anything, you are perfectly safe. You'll hear some weird noises, but don't worry about those. And that, like I say, there is a giant version of the map room that you can create, and each different one of these pillars will represent one of those obelisks that you attune to. But what you want to do in here is you would want to come and talk to this big ghost here. A little bit awkward sometimes to get the thing to pop up, but if you just come on, move around a little bit, it should eventually give you.
Do not be afraid, Bonded One. I am just a shadow A whisper of what once was. Before the fall, when this kingdom raised knighted pillars of black stone to the sky, I was called the Archivist.
So yeah, before we carry on with this, as you can see, there's a couple of things you can learn. One of them being cartography, which is your map room, so you can learn them. But then you really want to talk to this guy, and you want to listen to what he says, because he's going to name some particular items, or artifacts let's call them, that you need to collect throughout the game, and there's no rush to collect these. But one of them he mentions is actually incorrect at the end of the game. And many people would spend hours and hours and hours trying to find where to get this item from, and the fact is, what he tells you is actually wrong. There's actually a different item that you need, and I'm going to tell you where to get it from as well, and I'll also tell you which one it is. But see first by listening to this, if you can pick up, there are 6 different ones I believe, see if you can guess which one he says isn't required at the end of the game. Veteran players, put this in the comments down below because I know you'll know this, but this is really good for new players as well. Don't get too highly strung on one of these, but again, don't worry, I will tell you which one to ignore and the one you do actually need, and I'll also show you where to get it from.
Have you come to seek a way free of the bonding bracelet, human? There is only one chance, and a very slim one at that. You must assemble the items of power that were present at its creation. The diadem of the Giant Kings, the mask of the Witch Queen, the tears of 2 races, the star of the champion, the heart of the sands, the shining trapezohedron, and the serpent ring of Set. I fear I set you an impossible quest, human. The diadem of the Giant Kings was once worn upon the brow of the priest king. He fell in battle with Tyros, the Deathbringer, in the battlefields of the north. More than that, I cannot say. The priest king was the most passionate and most volatile among us. I fear his downfall will not have been a simple matter. The Witch Queen of Lemuria was our great enemy in the dying days of our race. Her people came to us as refugees. But even as they took our succor, they plotted our downfall. She was present at the creation of the bracelet, lending her power to ours. Her fate is unknown to me, but she always ruled from her city in the swamp to the east. The tears of 2 races were simple to obtain when we performed the ritual. We simply took our tears and combined them. But who is left to weep for both races? Although tales persist of Tyros the Deathbringer, he was born of both races. Our blood mingled with theirs. Perhaps his tears could be enough to fulfill the requirement. Obtaining them would be quite the feat. The star of the champion lies buried beneath the sands of the arena in the east. I remember well the day that Tyros killed the mighty dragon. He wept to defeat such a noble creature. He placed the star upon its brow. As far as I know, there it remains. The heart of the sands, or simply the Scourge Stone, was an artifact of power. The Priest King used it to create a weapon, the Sandstorm, that he swore would be our salvation. He gave it to the War Maker to unleash upon our enemies. As far as I know, it was destroyed in the attempt. But perhaps the War Maker has more insight. The Serpent Ring of Set. It was our most powerful artifact. It was kept in a tomb beneath his city, and then one day, a human came. He had all the words and signs of power. He passed through every ward and trap we had put in place. He took the Serpent Ring of Set, and he left. If you wonder why you wear the bracelet, wonder no more. It must have been this man who called himself Tohamon. Dedicate yourself to recovering the other artifacts. You will not recover the Serpent Ring of Set as long as you are trapped in this empire. Perhaps. Perhaps it will be enough. When you have the artifacts, you must place them on the receptacle north of here. Once you have filled this vessel with the artifacts of power, it will create a keystone. To remove your bracelet, all that is required is to touch it with the keystone. And then, mortal, you will be free. But freedom will mean giving up all that these lands have come to offer you. So choose wisely. How did I die? I was betrayed by your kind, in a place called the Circle of Swords. I went in good faith to meet the Witch Queen. She had promised peace. I was cut down. My bones were left to rot in the wind. And yet, my spirit has always belonged to the Archives, human. And so, I am here. And here, I shall remain. Have you come to seek a way through?
So there you go. He's just going to mention that again now. Did you get it? Did you get which one he mentioned? Mentioned it a couple of times. But there is also another one that he didn't mention. We'll move away a minute while he's wittering on. But there is one that you will have to get that is from a different location in the map.
The shining trapezohedron and the serpent ring of Set. I fear I sent you an impossible question.
So there you go. You just kind of caught him mentioning them again. But yes, one of those that he mentioned you won't actually get hold of, and it can be a little confusing, especially for new players, because you hear him mention it and think that you need it as an item to help you remove your bracelet, I suppose, at the end of the game. But you don't actually need that one. You need all the others. But don't worry, in this little series we've got you covered. So I'll take you and show you where each one is, how you get them, and then where you need to take them all at the very end to then make your choice whether you want to release your bracelet and leave the exile lands and everything behind that you've made and created and looted and everything else, and essentially complete the game and start over. But you don't have to start over. You can just keep playing the game, keep your character going as much as you like. You don't have to complete it to complete the game. Most players have typically done it at least once just to see how it all works and what it's all about. But a lot of people keep their character going forever and ever and ever, because ultimately it is a sandbox game and you can choose your character's story, where they go, what they do, and have fun with the game. So yeah, that's going to do it for this one. I hope you found this introduction helpful and interesting. If you want to know where to get all these said artifacts from and how to assemble them into the keystone and then to remove your bracelet, stick with us in this little mini series because we've got you covered. Watch out for the next few episodes. Leave a like on this if you did enjoy it, leave your comments down below. Consider subscribing if you haven't already so that you'll know the releases for the next episodes. And until the next one, take it easy. See you all soon. Bye for now.